We found Dan on one rainy day in January 2017, driving around looking at open homes, open houses, and we walked on the threshold of this house, and there was this guy with this big smile who said, "Welcome to my open house." And that's how we met Dan. We chose Dan as our realtor. Well, we fell in love with this house, first of all, but he was so positive and easygoing and service-oriented that we not only used him to purchase this house that he was showing, we also had him list our house we were selling in another city, and he did a really good job of pulling together those two transactions so that everything was coordinated and worked out just perfectly. The greatest benefit we had to using Dan is that he was able to coordinate both transactions for us, both selling our old home and buying this new home that we're in now. And as anyone knows who's ever bought or sold a home, or if you haven't, there can be all kinds of things that can go wrong and lots of details with both ends, whether you're the buyer or the seller. And he managed to get through all of those complications as things would arise, found answers to problems, and was always extremely communicative with us the whole time. Whenever we'd call or text, he was very responsive and very helpful in ushering us through the whole process. Dan definitely helped us achieve our goal in this transaction. It was very important for us that we bought a home that was just at least the same or less value than the home we sold, because being over 55, wanted to transfer our property taxes with us from our home of 30 years previously. So he understood those parameters, and there was some negotiations and things that went back and forth, but ultimately, yeah, we did achieve that goal, and we did successfully transfer our property taxes to this new house. Working with Dan was always very, very easy, very responsive, calling, texting. Again, he'd always get back to us. He was very, very service-oriented and always very positive. Even when we had a few stressful moments, he was pretty mellow the whole time. So he was very, very easy to work with. Dan, in our opinion, really went above and beyond your average, I think, salesperson. Yes, everyone works because they want to get paid and make a commission, but he really pushed us, but he pushed us in a good way. He pushed us in a way that really, pushed us to get our other house listed, get it sold, and just pull this whole transaction together, because there is a window to get things done, and it is true that if you drag your feet, you wait too long, the opportunity's gone. So his pushing us in a good way through this whole process was really a positive thing, because ultimately it got us what we wanted, and it worked out great. I would recommend using Dan to anybody who's buying or selling a home here, particularly in the Corona area, because for a lot of the reasons I stated, depending on how this video is done, but he's personable, he's motivated, he's responsive, he's customer service oriented, and he knows what he's doing. And he really, really helped in a pleasant way push and drive the process so that it all concluded in an expeditious manner and ended up going the way we wanted things to go, but all done in a polite yet very high energy manner. I would recommend doing business with Dan because he's honest, he's personable, he's friendly, and he's extremely motivated in a positive way. We hadn't been in the real estate market for 3 decades, so it's almost like this was a first-time transaction. But as far as what requirements were we looking for in a realtor, quite frankly, when we walked in here that day and saw this house and met Dan, we didn't already have a predetermined checklist, but because of his demeanor, how friendly he was, how outgoing, and how motivated he was to motivate us to really light a spark in us, tell us, time is of the essence, and you better, this is a good deal, you better move on. And he was right. He was right. So it's not like we came into this deal expecting, with the whole checklist of the realtor must be whatever. but we immediately felt at ease and comfortable, like he was the right guy and he was the right choice. The reason we wanted to move, we actually had no intention of moving. We lived for 30 years in our old home in Chino Hills, but we have a developmentally disabled daughter who we moved to Peppermint Ridge here in Corona, which is this great nonprofit for the developmentally disabled. And we wanted to be closer to her as we age and only be able to drive a few minutes to visit her and be involved in the organization. So that was our reason for moving. If it weren't for her and Peppermint Ridge and the great city of Corona, we would have stayed where we were, but we're extremely glad we moved, and we've been very, very happy here.